Greetings and welcome to this podcast show, Voices Listed with Dr. P. Mac. As always, I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to sit down and speak with amazing and remarkable individuals that are doing amazing work. And today, I get the opportunity to speak with W.A.R.D, who is an athletic coach, a strength and conditioning coach, and who has the pleasure of watching me cry as he takes me through, strength and conditioning exercises and coaching. And through our conversations, I thought that we would bring them to a podcast because him and I, we talk about various things from stoicism to, parenting to just the importance of maintaining a good mental health. And so today I speak with W.A.R.D. W.A.R.D is a real high performance specialist who has served and worked with the Victoria Royals of the Western Hockey League, and he has had an impressive career growth, and now he's running W.A.R.D Athletics that he actually started in 2016, and he embodies as part of his core philosophy work, accountability, resilience, and determination, and these are some of the things that we discuss as we go through, as he takes me through the paces, as he coaches me for my own sort of, strength and conditioning. And so today, join me as I speak with W.A.R.D about, in the importance of having a great mental health, parenting, stoicism, as well as other interesting issues. Join us on Voices Listed with Dr. P. Mac. So excited to be having a conversation with you today about a couple of things. But first, you are, fitness coach, strength and conditioning, and you've been doing quite a lot, even just with young players like in the hockey. What got you into that?
It's a good question. What got me into that? The short answer is a girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I want to hear this. Tell us the story.
Well, it actually kind of dates back. So I was playing junior B hockey at Kootenays. Finished up. Once you're done junior, you age out at 8 years old.
Yeah.
And you got to start thinking, okay, what's the next step? And I went back to my hometown of Prince Rupert, and I was working dock construction that summer. Decent.
Yeah, nice.
Met a girl from out of town.
Okay.
She grew up in Shawnigan Lake.
Okay.
And we came close really fast. It's kind of a roundabout story, but my grandma was sick with cancer. So I actually moved to Calgary.
Okay.
And she went back to school in Victoria.
Okay. Yeah.
And we missed each other so much. So she was like, hey, I can't ask you to move out here, considering you went there for your grandmother.
Yeah.
But what if I came to you? So she came and lived with me in Calgary. Island girl getting used to.
Oh, you're getting used to the snow.
And eventually the snow got to her. And unfortunately,
it's like I'm done with this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my grandma ended up passing.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Obviously cancer.
Yeah.
Chance to say goodbye and everything. But once we kind of had enough of the flatlands and got our affairs in order, the decision was to come back to the island.
Nice. Yeah.
I knew cost of living and had to start figuring out what was the next step.
What was the next step? Yeah.
And one of my close friends from high school was like, oh, I'm doing the athletic therapy program, most in Victoria.
Yeah. And
I searched it, and everything that I read was like, this is cool. It's about sports, athletes.
Yep.
It's about pushing yourself physically. It spoke to me. So applied right away, made the decision to move back to the island. And it took about a year to get into the program. But finally, and I think the biggest thing was just that I wanted to be an athlete.
Okay.
Realized that I had the determination, but not the skill. And decided that, well, there's a different way.
That's interesting. And so if you look back on that decision of going into, sort of, athletic, fitness and strength and conditioning and the work that you do you feel that it was a good move? when you reflect on your younger self and then where you are now?
I do. I think having played sports and learned so much from team sports and being part of a team and growing up in a bigger family, there's always a sense of camaraderie, of togetherness, of overcoming challenges. And I just love that team environment.
I love that.
And the idea of there's always another obstacle to overcome. There's always an area you can improve. But the team aspect of you don't have to go alone.
I love that. And, every time you and I have a conversation, either, out on the, taking a walk, you such a community-minded person, right? And you take this approach, which is, how do we build community? How do we ensure that in building community that, the mental health of young people is well, particularly those that you work with, but even just mental health in general, right? And so my question would be, and even as we talk, you talk a lot about, building trust and authentic relationships. How is that skill of building trust and authentic relationship been critical or crucial for you as you support athletes that are dealing with both physical recovery and mental health?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think honestly, that's probably a big portion of what drew me into specifically being an athletic therapist or like a trainer for the team. Because it allows you to build authentic relationships with the athlete. I remember making the joke my first year working for the Victoria Royals and one of the interviews with them, and I was like, oh, you're basically like the team mom. Dad's the coach. You yell. But being kind of that mature but also supportive person. And obviously, like, they're coming to you when you're injured and feeling bad. So you get to see firsthand how you're handling those challenges. And so I think modeling a good sense of sturdiness and stability, but also that optimistic mindset of this is where we are right now. Think about where we can go.
And so talk about being in that, air quotes, mom role, right? As you work with young athletes, how do you create an environment where they feel safe to share with you? Because I know that, having to recover physically, is quite a challenge. But then that also comes with, so maybe, mental health issues, whether related to sport or elsewhere. How have you created that safe space?
Yeah, again, that's a good question. I think connection is so important. Getting buy-in is so important. But how are you going to build a connection? How are you going to get the trust of this? Right? Like you obviously have to know your stuff, anatomy, the exercises, the progressions, the regressions. How do you take care of it so that it's successful and that perfect amount of pushing it so the tissues can improve? It all comes back to relationships. In a way, finding what motivates that individual athlete, but also building that trust in the first place. So I've taken the approach of trying to lead by example, showing the importance of, practicing a healthy lifestyle, whether that's doing exercises yourself, especially the boring ones, the activation, the warm up, the recovery.
Oh man, I just go straight to it. I'm guilty there. Like the boring ones. Like I'm just gonna jump straight into it. I don't have time to be stretching and doing all these things. Thanks for sharing that. I think it's important, right? Like just creating that safe space, not only just for young people to be able to, and I see it even just as I work with young people maybe at the university and stuff, right? That really creating a space, a safe space really embodies what you've spoken about, like making sure that they trust you, making sure that how I present myself, for example, is that, hey, I'm here to listen, I'm here to support you on this journey that you are in, and bounce off. I've seen, so for my younger students, I say to them that I've seen so many things around the sun that I'm sure I'll be able to share with you a piece or two in terms of just nuggets of wisdom. But one of the things that Coach JT, by the way, I was thinking this morning, I was like, we call him Coach JT. What's the T for?
T?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I've got one of those long first names, hyphenated, Jarrett Thomas.
Uh-huh. For all these years, I'm like, JT. And then I'm like, this morning, I'm like, I wonder what the T for. Okay, Thomas. Okay.
It's not as bad. I didn't realize you were Dr. Peanut. So,
no.
Still got like a couple months to go. So.
No. So, one of oh man, that's that. I feel we're gonna be that, right? Absolutely. One of the things that I was reading on and researching as I was just looking at the work that you've done is your experience with the Hockey Canada's program of excellence. And so, what's the most memorable celebration moment that you witnessed when you were part of that program and you got gold?
Yeah, right? Like kind of trying to tee that one up a little bit. Gold medal, yeah. Like, it's hard to explain. Like, even being there in the moment, and the whole tournament leading up to it, like you're working with world-class athletes. It's the top staff, respected areas, like everyone. It's just a well-oiled machine. Not only are there such, like smart, intelligent individuals, but you can see the passion, the way they carry themselves. Everyone's a pro. But definitely just the opportunity to be a part of something like that. I guess it, like, even to this day, it feels surreal. Wow. Like, I look at my gold medal and I'm like, oh, I do two things. One is like, seriously, why do I have a medal? I was the athletic therapist, like, to hold these guys together. Tournament. Just to have it. This weird, like, doesn't feel.
Oh, like but you deserve it. You deserve it. They would not have gotten that goal if they didn't have it all together. So you are a good part and a strong part to that team, right? So yeah, you deserve that medal. I would say that.
I like to hope and think that a small role was made. At the same time, I think, just a lot of everyone coming together and playing. Led to that successful moment, and the team battled some adversity. And I remember, actually, we were so close to being knocked out of the tournament. I think it was we played the other team, and I think we beat them in overtime before even the final rounds.
Okay,
it was just so close and easy. Gone the other way. Once, like, just that the way it clicks, it kind of comes together. That flow state. Not just the athletes, but the staff get into, and the motivation the coaches give, and the buy-in from the guys doing the recovery afterwards, picking up their teammates that might be struggling. It's I don't even know how to.
That's I mean, congratulations for that and adding that to your resume. And so when I think about you're talking about keeping the team together, right? And so as someone who has to stay cool under pressure, and I've been out to Seven Foods Memorial and watch the games while you're still there as director of athletic training. You have to, be cool, right? Under pressure when you deal with injuries on ice. What's your go-to stress activity, like stress relief activity when you're off the job? What is it that, helps you to sort of maintain that coolness? And
I think physical exercise is my outlet for a lot of things. And that's definitely one of them as well. You can get on the spin bike or lifting weights, or a personal favorite, the assault bike.
Don't get me on that again.
And you kind of just, that's my creative space. View myself as very artistic or anything. But I find that that's where I can think the clearest. And clarity, with some ideas.
I love that
process.
Right.
I think a big part of the role when you're kind of the athletic therapist or the health and safety person on a team is you have to anticipate things. But there's also situations that occur, and you have to have enough humility to look back and think, okay, what did I do right? Wrong? To be cohesive as a team. Could have been done differently for the outcome of that individual in danger or, in time of need. Could have been handled really, or just executed better. It comes down to experience, but also being able to think about things deep.
Wow. I mean, that's an amazing skill. I want to have that skill because I struggle. Like when I go into the gym, I either I'm doing something or I'm sitting down in a corner processing. But your ability to be able to, be on the salt bike and process all of these things is amazing. It's really, really great. And so I wanna come to sort of, I know you've worked with the folks, young kids that play soccer, but you've mainly also worked with hockey players. So when working with young hockey players, what's been the funniest excuse that you've had from them as they try to skip training or try to skip their rehab exercise?
Interesting. I mean, you get all kinds of.
Yeah, I can imagine, eh?
Oh, I think one of my favorite ones was in the summer. Like the athletes come from all over.
Yep.
And so this one individual is from Edmonton, and we were doing these summer kind of player development protocols, like fitness testing, but trying to be more catering to the individual and assess like what are their strengths, what are areas of movement that we might be able to hone on this athlete to improve their performance. And we kind of set these checkpoints throughout the summer. Yeah. And so we gave the instructions, the deadlines, timelines, everything, like set very clear expectations. Yeah. And this one athlete, he was just so blunt and upfront about it. And he was like, "Hey, sorry I missed the deadline. I was on vacation with my family in Vegas and things got a little out." And I was like, "Well, I appreciate your honesty." It's not really it's an excuse.
It's an excuse, but yeah. I mean, Vegas, man, forget the training, forget the workout routines. I'm just gonna be present.
I was like, "How am I gonna report this to the coach and stuff?" Yeah, he's bought it. He's working on his athletic performance, all right.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. And so I love you're wearing your company merch, and for our listeners who are listening on Spotify or Apple Music, sorry, you won't be able to see this, but I love your merch, right? W.A.R.D Athletics, and you've got your cap on, and your company, W.A.R.D Athletics, like you emphasize work, accountability, resilience, and determination. And so can you, if you can, share a story where these principles really made a difference, either in an athlete's recovery process or yours? Because I know you not so long ago had a serious knee injury. How have you lived the values that you embody through W.A.R.D Athletics? So accountability, resilience, and determination. How has that appeared in your life?
Yeah. I appreciate you noticing the self-promotion.
The merch. Oh, yeah. Let's put it out there. I love it. Cool gear, man.
Yeah. No, everyone loves a good acronym, right?
Yeah.
And, obviously.
And that's a play off your last name.
And
man.
Yeah.
I love it. That's so good.
It's a work, 2 for 1.
Accountability, resilience, determination.
Yeah.
Wow.
Same thing. It's kind of like when you're working out, like what does your mind gravitate to, what you believe in? It's kind of I can't remember who said the quote. Yeah. I'm sure it's some stoic, but it was something along the lines of, I gotta butcher it now. Man is pushed by drives, but pulled by principles.
I love that.
His principles.
Pushed by drive, pulled by his principles.
So just like any good business, what are your principles? What is your vision?
Yeah.
What do you stand for?
Yeah.
And I really stewed on kind of the principle foundation of this for a long time. Obviously in physical fitness and personal achievement, you got to have a good work ethic.
Yeah.
Willing to.
Yeah.
Sacrifice.
I love that.
And on that comes accountability, right? You're going to be true to yourself.
Yeah.
Are you going to push the boundaries?
Yeah.
But also you're going to be accountable to the rest days. Understand that, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to have setbacks.
Yeah.
And part of that being accountable is doing the education piece as well. And then resilience, obviously, overcoming obstacles is something that you need to navigate on a regular basis. And what doesn't challenge you doesn't change you. So being resilient to overcome and continuing to strive forward with that ties perfectly into determination. Yeah. Just continue to persevere, continue to claw away at it. And you self me. That was a COVID injury.
Yeah.
Why did I eat some humble pie on that?
Man.
I remember the wife I would refuse. I didn't refuse, but I was so embarrassed. She rented one of those like.
I saw that. Yeah.
So that my little guy Flynn was about not even a year old.
Yeah.
And what happened was, for those of you listeners that don't know, I was playing 7-a-side soccer with my wife. I played soccer in high school and stuff. But it was more just about get out.
Sure. Yeah. And have fun. Yep.
Just a freak incident.
Wow.
It was in the spring, so it was after the long hockey season. The first year after COVID. So there was all these rules, regulations. Trying to get myself back into shape.
Sure.
And I did too much too fast. I remember the week before it happened, I tried to be stubborn. I did like a 10K run. I had a circuit the next day. Then I did a big lift, and then it was a Saturday. And I remember feeling like stiff and sore.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to do an extra long. Feel good. And I remember because like some of my teammates and friends were like, "Oh, that's smart. Like I feel stiff." And we did like as a group of 7 adults. 20-minute dynamic. We're doing our prep stuff. We feel great. And the game's going. We're feeling great. Made some good plays. I was actually like, it was kind of.
You're at the top of it.
Fun. And then after the half, so I attribute it to 10 minutes of sitting still. It's my secret. I'm not getting up. Just planted really hard with my left foot to go do a cross field pass to my teammate on the far side. Like a good boot. And right as I planted that left foot, just that quick eccentric, I felt like a snap. And in my head, all I remember feeling was like, when you rip open like a drumstick, a chicken. Like that's what it felt like and heard, and like the visual that I felt in my head. And I knew something wasn't right. I was like, okay, ACL's gone. Who knows?
Who knows, right?
Fortunately, my wife, Kate, is an athletic therapist. Friends there all jumped into took a while for an ambulance to get there, but at least having their support it was another chance to practice. Like again, those
like staying cool, right? Under pressure. I mean,
lose your mind.
I would lose my mind, man.
It's a chance to sit there and reflect. And again, my son wasn't even a year old. Is there with Emma. So luckily they're there to help.
To help with them,
But it also got me thinking like, oh, how's my son going to see this moment? So that gave me a lot of strength. Reflection. But to kind of fast forward more through the story, that injury I felt has shaped a lot of the direction of not only how I work and interact with my athletes who injure very substantial and crazy injuries themselves, but also how do you connect with general population clients that you're working with to get past some of these. I just realized I never actually said what the injury was, but it was a torn patella tendon.
Whoa, that sounds complicated. What's that?
So your quadricep muscle is a thigh muscle on your leg. And then the tendon comes and engulfs the patella, kneecap. And then it actually inserts on the top of kind of the tuberosity of the tibia or the top of the leg. And so that tendon allows you for when you squeeze your glutes to extend your leg. So that tendon I completely ripped off. So essentially,
dude, how did you do that?
Just that heavy.
Whoa.
I mean, I have a big organ.
So like I know. So you put all your weight on one leg.
Your weight kind of sprinting, and then all of a sudden you stop. Or imagine as though like you're jumping off a bench.
And then land on one leg.
And that.
Have you been out playing soccer since?
I actually just a couple weeks ago, first time I kind of put the ball around with my little guy. He's like his mom. He's gonna be a natural.
Oh my.
It was.
What an experience though. And so as you're explaining and having the little guy there watching all of that, it made me think about just this toughness and resilience that speak obviously now in the context of being men, like the toughness and resilience that you have to project, or we have to project in the face of adversity or of a tough situation. I don't know, there's probably no right way or wrong way, but I've gotten to this sense now in my life that I think it's okay for my son and my daughter to see me cry. I think it's okay for them to see me in pain and know that, well, perhaps this is the cause of the pain, and then perhaps even them help me process it. What's your take on that? Like, growing up, I grew up in a community, I'm from Zimbabwe in Southern Africa, where don't cry. You're not allowed to show tears. You're not allowed to do anything. You just, particularly if you're a male, like, no, right? And so growing up, it was always like that until a certain point in time where I was hitting goals and, things went kaput and I just, but in crying, I got the biggest relief that I ever had. I was like, oh, this feels good. I'm crying. I'm like, oh, this feels good, right? So what's your take on that? I know we come from two different cultures, and so I want to understand even for my listeners too, right? What's your take on that? Is it okay for our kids to see us crying, or we should just go into a closet and cry, then come back and say, oh, I'm good.
I mean, I default to you. You're my go-to guy. Hey, Uncle Patrick, can you tell me?
Yeah.
What's the right thing? This is, again, an amazing question and something that, many people I think will reflect on. And I agree with you. I feel personally that not only is it okay to cry, I think it's important for your kids to see you in all different kinds of but and shout out to Dr. Becky.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Talking about listening to, trying to learn from. Talks about emotional regulation, emotional vaccination, but how important it is for the repair piece.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we're all humans. We've got different hormones running through our bodies. We've got different traumas that we've endured. Different upbringings, different cultures, different understandings of the world. And everyone processes things different. And I remember thinking back to high school and even just my upbringing. Like I always felt like I was a little bit more of a sensitive kid. Like things hit me a little bit different. Maybe I was being a little more over dramatic, or like I remember always just feeling things a little bit. And having that feeling like, oh, I shouldn't. But no, I would say I'm an advocate of, it's important for your kids to see different layers of emotion, but how do you respond after?
I love that. Yeah, it's how do you respond afterwards, right? And I really, really love that. I say to anyone who cares to listen that I'm a guy now who wears my heart on my sleeve, right? I'm not shy to show my emotions. If I'm upset, you'll know that I'm upset. Like if something is hurting me, you'll know that something is hurting me, right? Because I've realized that being able to express myself helps me to then take that next step, which is necessary to be able to, to heal and move forward. And so, listeners, you might be listening here and thinking about, hey, how do we, is it okay to show emotions? Is it okay? I think it's okay. And so I think my strength and conditioning coach thinks that's okay. So we think it's okay. So go ahead and cry. And then just, let your emotions out. And, it's an important piece too, as you're speaking about social emotional sort of regulation. I'm excited to be working on a project with a client whose book is really talking about that. And so just having this privilege to be working with them and working to help edit and put this book out that hopefully would help, young kids to be able to be more in tune with their feelings and deal with them, right? And in a way that is helpful, that is progressive, that helps them to identify solutions as they move forward. So I know we are coming close to the end of our time. When I, think of, you mentioned earlier on sort of, working hard with the teams and doing road trips, et cetera, what's your most memorable road trip that you have taken or that you took with the team? Perhaps even with the Victoria Royals.
Yeah. Honestly, my most memorable one personally, I think it's, because obviously it just means more to me. I can't remember what year it was. The years kind of blend together after a while. A lot of bus trips, but one of the coolest ones was we were doing just a short road trip over to Vancouver, and we had a lighter bus, and just the way it worked out, everyone, the management style of the team was amazing for allowing me to do this, but the little guy Flynn and
nice
able to come on the bus.
Nice.
the short drive up to the ferry and then the ferry across. Have his little car seat up on the front of the bus.
Oh, so good. Yeah.
And yeah, it was good. Had the hotel room there. So the guy did watch the first period.
Yeah.
Because 7:00 starts.
Yeah.
So him and the wife went back to the hotel.
Oh.
The wife watched the rest
of
the hotel.
Yeah.
Just thinking about how I could share that experience. Obviously, he was still pretty young. So his whole understanding of it is probably limited, but cool that I remember reading something that's saying something about like your kids should see you in your element.
Yeah.
The passion.
Yeah.
And the things that you do so you can share.
Yeah. Wow.
That was probably one of the cooler road trips. Short road trip of Vancouver.
Yeah. Wow.
Definitely sits in the memory.
That's so good. Yeah, that would sit. I mean, it's just for your son to be able to see you at work and doing the things that you love most it's memorable. That's really, really good. Love it. And so, and I'm not going to get you off this show without hearing from you about stoicism. And so you've introduced me to Ryan Holiday and his writings and stuff like that. What took you to that path, like to think about, Stoics and Marcus Aurelius and their writing and all of that?
Yeah. I knew this was going to come.
There you go.
I had a few quotes ready to go.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, actually, an old colleague of mine from the Royals days, Dan Price, he had 2 books in his office when he was the head coach of the team. One of them was Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday, and the other one was Obstacle is the Way
by Ryan Holiday,
And I think we worked together almost a year. There were 6 months because I filled in for the therapist before I did it, but I'd only known him for about a year. And I remember seeing those books, like they didn't move. Almost collecting dust. And one day I was, young guy trying to get more active into reading.
Sure.
Asked him, hey, what are these about? So he loaned them to me. And it was just one of those books that it starts to speak to you. And draw connection to it. And knowing that Stoic philosophy has a lot of connection to sports. People that have been through it. So I think they draw a lot of correlations. So it's easy to connect to it. But honestly, that just started scratching the surface. And the amount of books Ryan Holiday has come out with now, I personally love them because I find it's a chance to practice personal growth. And it's all about controlling what you can control and responding rather than reacting. And it's not about a lack of emotion. Going back to what you were saying about should you cry? It's more about why waste time on things that you have no control over? Why let these anxieties over? When in reality, like, your time and your effort can be spent on
I'll pause you there because we had friends over for dinner a couple of nights ago, and I was saying to them the same thing, right? And it's adulting, and we call it adulting, right? Like talking about the hard stuff, and income is this, and my expenses, and I'm trying to balance this, and the kids need this and this and this. And so we're sitting around just after we finished having dinner, and we've just gone to a more relaxing place, and we're just talking about all of these things, life's pressures, right? And it occurred to me, and well, not just in that instant, but it's something that I've been trying to live the past couple of years is, why stress? Why worry? Why put myself in this box of being anxious about this and this and this and this and this and this? Yet, tomorrow I might not be here, right? And so why am I wasting the now for a time that I might not, right? It's not that, and I'll say to my friends that it's not that like we should be careless, we should not plan, and no, we should do all of that. But then beyond the planning, then live it there, right? Like don't stress about it. And so it's interesting you mentioned this because just 2 days ago we were talking about this with a bunch of friends.
Yeah, absolutely. Memento mori, right?
Yeah.
The big Latin phrase that basically means like you could leave life right now.
Yeah.
What you say, do.
Yeah, I love it. And with that, and I get goosebumps as you say that. And with that, we're talking about, hey, we're not going to wait until the end of the quarter, or we're not going to wait until spring break to go on a holiday. Like, if we can do it, let's do it now.
Yeah.
Right. And then, one of the friends said, well, I can't do that because I have to be at work. Like, oh, okay. Do you have to be physically at work? Well, no, I'm in my office in my home and I have to be on my computer.
Yeah.
You can take your computer with you.
Yeah.
Right. And he was like, oh, yeah. And be on holiday. I'm like, yeah, you can just time yourself, right? Like, you've got your schedule, etc. Figure it out. But you can be in an exotic place while working, but also enjoying this, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. And I find I gravitate to a lot of helps from the parenting perspective, of where was I going with this?
Yeah.
Same thing. It's like, okay, sorry, son, I just got to do this work. I got to finish this. I've got a deadline. I've got it here.
Yeah.
Hurry up.
Yeah.
Late. Yeah. And it's those mindful reminders of that perspective. What are we rushing this for?
Yeah.
Why am I answering this email right now? Opposed to going and spending 5 minutes of floor time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Having that perspective has been profound in the life that I live and the way I want to raise.
Yeah. That's been gutting me too, right? Because sometimes my son walks into my offices like, Dad, let's go out to the soccer field and, play around. And I'm like, no. So in my head, I'm like, if you knew the kind of things I'm processing and trying to deal with right now, you want me to go and play? And then sometimes, he wins. I'm like, yeah, sure. Because perhaps selfishly, I just need a break from the work. But then to think about this parenting aspect too, right? That our kids would not remember how long and how hard we worked. They'll remember the moments that we spent with them. Right. And so I applaud you for having that recognition. Say, hey, you know what? I need to bring this into my parenting. I need to actually just take a time out and be with my son. Right. And I want to do better at that. I want to do better at that, with my daughter, with my son, and even with my spouse, with my wife too. Right. To just find these times. And my word for this year has been intentionality, right? Intentional friendships, intentional relationships, intentional living. Like, I want to be intentional about taking more holidays and spending more time with my kids and family and those that are near and dear to me, right? Because it's such an important part of life, right? I think of my own kids, like, they're growing. I'm like, oh my gosh, my daughter in a couple of years should be out, she'll be in university, and what? Where did the time go? Exactly. Right? And so, yeah, so speaking of sports stoicism, your favorite quotes. I know you said you had a couple right off the bat to go. Do you have any particular quote that speaks to you, and why?
Yeah, one of my favorites that I like is, it kind of stems off Amor Fati, which is the love of fate.
Okay.
And this is from specifically Marcus Aurelius, his book Meditations. I love, it's on my nightstand. I kind of just like reading it and reflecting on it in bed sometimes.
Yeah.
One of the ones that really helped specifically through that knee injury was, when something bad happens, you're like, oh, that's so unfortunate that it happened.
Yeah.
And this is a matter that changed that perspective. And it's like, no, it's not that it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that it happened to me, and I've remained unharmed by it. Because again, control mindset. You control how you respond to that situation.
I love that.
So the knee injury, yes. At the end of the day, our bodies, our health, and more at peace again.
Yeah.
No one knows how long.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could get hit by a car.
Yeah.
Diagnosed with terminal cancer. At the end of the day, we have zero control.
Yeah.
Sure, there's factors that we can try and control to prevent it. Yeah. But so much of that we can't. So embrace the situations that happen and how those challenges make us. It's fortunate that this has happened. I remain unharmed. So the knee injury, that gave me so much clarity and knowledge and experience to practice what I preach. Do the rehab. Understand that if I go too hard too fast, create issues. Versus doing the diligent work and understanding that it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Sure.
We went for a run together. On this run, like, I used to love running. but I was just so grateful that I could do that.
Yeah.
Because there was a time through that recovery where
that you couldn't. Yeah.
And there was videos that I went down rabbit holes that were like, oh yeah, I didn't like this. You're not going to be the same.
Oh my.
And I chose to
listen to that. Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, just watching your journey of recovery from that injury. I mean, you were in your gym, you were working. You're like, I'm like, this guy there's something. There are some wires in his brain, that's right. But you just went on grinding and grinding and grinding, right? And just having this positive attitude to say, hey, there's a reason that I went through this, right? And so even as you were speaking right now, I was like, now you went through that, and so you're able to work with your clients and support them, right? Rehabilitate, and because you have at least an awareness of what it takes to go through, a certain amount of pain, right?
Understanding how much abuse the body can handle.
Yeah,
that is amazing insight. There's still a challenge. Right? It's not fair for me to tell my clients, suck it up. Do it. It's more like, how can we empower other people to find the light and be able to dig deep. It really does suck when it does hurt.
I love that. And so just moving away from that, from stoicism and sort of having a general outlook, are people now more healthy? Are we living more healthier lifestyles? Are we training more? What's your take on that as we wrap up the show?
Again, I think this could be debated. Again, I think our access to information is such an amazing thing, but probably such a scary thing as well, right? Like personally, I take pride in my certifications and the schooling and the education that I've gotten, and it's scary sometimes when you see Instagram, TikTok, what people are saying, what people are doing.
Because what kind of foods to eat or not to eat, and all of these things that,
out of this, all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get fit. Go on this diet. Completely deplete yourself of nutrients or do this type of crazy exercise. And it scares me the people that, are wanting to make these changes and finding this information. But don't necessarily know how to test its credibility. So I think that there's a lot of amazing ways to learn in our digital age, access to information, but being mindful of what is accurate information or what isn't. I think we had a conversation.
We did.
Like what?
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Like even me, I want to try and cut out some of the meat protein. Have a little healthier. But then you read some of these articles that are coming through, and you start to question, like, am I the right? Am I not the right? There's a lot of misleading information. But I do think that having social media and having access to information is very powerful. If done correct.
If used correctly, right? That's fantastic. Coach W.A.R.D embodies his core philosophy of work, accountability, resilience, and determination. And I just love, sort of your expertise around high performance training and rehab, and working with particular skill in developing individualized athlete care plans and return to play protocols. And I appreciate you, community appreciates you, and thank you for the work that you do with individual people like me in coaching and in group coaching and working with teams here in BC. And wish you well, and I hope to bring you back to the podcast again.
Thank you so much for having me, Patrick.
Awesome. Welcome, bud.
Thank you for listening to the Voices Listed podcast with Dr. P. Mac. I hope you enjoyed insights that came out of this conversation. Keep your notifications on. Our next episode will be dropping soon. Thank you and enjoy.